So now that Thanksgiving is over, I'm going to answer this question, and I'm going to kind of break it up just so I can make sure I'm giving the best information. So my son was diagnosed with beckwith syndrome, which is an overgrowth disorder characterized by congenital features and an increased risk of childhood cancer. My son was diagnosed at birth due to his physical features, and I had no clue about his syndrome before I gave birth to him. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that my son has gone through from birth to now, and I'm going to start with his birth. When my son was first born, he had extreme facial bruising and shoulder dystocia from a traumatic labor where he had to be forcibly removed out of me due to his heart rate dropping so low. Here's a photo where you can kind of see how bruised he is. So we ended up having to stay in the hospital for a week, I believe, and that was due to his prolonged jaundice. He was under the lights from the day that he was born till the day that we left. And I mean, literally 24/7. They only brought him to me every 2 hours to eat, and that was literally for like 10-15 minutes, and they put him back under the lights due to how high his jaundice levels were, and they were continuously not dropping. Each day they would actually continue to rise despite being underneath the lights. And it was just a traumatic experience for both of us, not being able to bond with my baby for an entire week on top of the already traumatic labor we had, and then a diagnosis of Beckwith-Wiedemann syndrome. Overall, though, Beckwith-Wiedemann kids tend to live pretty normal lives past the age of 8. They have to receive routine scanning every 3 months, which consists of blood work and an ultrasound, just to make sure that they are not developing any tumors, because when they do grow, they grow very fast. Beckwith-Wiedemann syndrome can also be genetic, but in our case, it was a random mutation that happened in development, which means that he has the lowest cancer risk, which is typically around 2 to 3%. But even so, with such a low number of risk, there are several kids with BWS that end up developing cancer even with the lower risk. Another big thing that BWS kids deal with is enlarged tongues, to the point that they actually may need tongue reduction surgery. And I think I'm missing a couple of things, but honestly, if you have questions, just ask below and I'll answer them.